Good morning, Karen. How are you?
Good morning. So happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me. It is a beautiful morning here in Tennessee. Good to see you, my friend.
Thank you. We're happy to see you too, and we're so grateful for your time today.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm thankful for your time.
I'd like to introduce our future audience to you if they don't already know you, because you've made a splash in lots of places in our fine world. So they might already know your face, but just in case they don't, we'll just tell them who you are again. I'd like to introduce our future audience to a member of country music royalty, Karen Waldrup, top five finalists in The Voice, but that's just part of the story. She has been writing for a long time and performing for a long time, continues to write and sing so many great songs, and has traveled the world to present them to very grateful audiences. She's currently promoting her newest single, Blue Cowboy Boots, and I'm so excited to talk to you today.
Blue Cowboy Boots. Yes, I'm so excited to talk to you today. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. So I understand you come from a small town in Louisiana, Mandeville,
Yes, man,
and
Louisiana.
just about 24 miles out of New Orleans. That's
Hey,
probably my Chicago accent.
thank you for the exact miles. I wasn't aware it was 24, but yeah, I always say 30 minutes. So yeah.
Okay, well, we're being kind of being exact. We're trying. We're trying.
Yeah,
24.2 miles. No.
24.2 miles. Yes. Close
So
enough to head down to the quarter and be back by the time you go to bed. So we,
there
we
you
love to
go.
go down there. Yes.
There you go. A great place to be close to. Drive in, drive back out to the more rural areas.
Yes.
So even though there's a couple specific types of music that people know that that area of the country is known for, what musicians, were you most inspired by growing up from any style of music?
Coming up in South Louisiana, I just really appreciated artists that were individuals, artists that were like wild and creative and funky and so I kind of just really gravitated towards like Janis Joplin and Tina Turner and then the country artists like Martina McBride and the Dixie Chicks. Like there's definitely a similarity of like funky, like Dolly Parton. My whole living room is decorated Dolly Parton. I love Dolly Parton. And so I think that when it comes to looking up to other women who have come before me, I really admire the ones that just do not care and just totally are themselves. And I think when you're an individual and you don't try to follow any trends, you just do what you do musically. That is the ticket to being a true artist. I can't tell you how many times in my career somebody said like, "Well, people are doing this or this is really in trend." I'm like, I don't want to hear about that. That's cool. I'm happy for them. But the one thing I think I've done right, and I've done a lot of things wrong. We could have a whole podcast of the things I did wrong. But one of the things I think I did right is that I just didn't ever follow trends. And so my music has consistently sounded like the girl from Mandeville, Louisiana, who was inspired in the French Quarter as a child, listening to horns, listening to a guy playing guitar and singing with a harp and kicking his little foot on a kick drum and playing three instruments at once. Like that to me was the like of all the things going on in Louisiana when I was a kid, like that was the coolest thing. Like I just thought that was the coolest thing. The guy's sitting on the corner playing his guitar and singing and playing harp and kicking a pedal. I was just like, oh my gosh, I have to make music. Like that's so incredible. I was just so blown away by that. And so I think that rubs off on me in my current music is just the passion and the free feeling of creating the music that you feel and love.
It's so true because so many times, like you say, the industry might try to carve out cookie cutter artists of a certain type of thing at a certain time, a certain style, a certain whatever it might be, a certain trend for the way to make a video, a certain trend for the way to sing a song, a certain way it's written, the lyrics can't be this, but should be that. And so it's neat that you're like kind of bucking the trend to go in a different direction, do what you want. That's great.
Yeah, and I think I specifically don't overly listen to like Miranda Lambert or oh, I mean I listen to it, but I don't overly listen to where I can kind of start to sound like that. I just think that's a dangerous slippery slope. I think listen to the song, admire it, be happy for her, but also know that like by keeping your listening broad, one minute I'm listening to Otis Redding, next minute I'm listening to Lainey Wilson, next minute I'm listening to Dolly Parton.
Yeah.
By keeping it broad like that, and then the next minute I'm obsessed with Kevin Gates, rapper from South Louisiana. So I think by keeping your listening broad, it helps you to appreciate all types of different music. I can really appreciate Cardi B's lyrics. I can really appreciate So anyway, I'm a all over the place listener. You just absolutely never know what's in my headphones, like literally ever.
And that's great because it's just like it's then you just have such a wide variety of thoughts when you go to write a song. You're not thinking about any one style, any one person, but it's kind of like with what music is. You the influences you had growing up, the influences you have around you today, and you take them all and you make it your own. You whatever your own styles to be, which is a tiny 1% of something else, and then 10% of this, and you know the rest
And
is
at
you.
the end of the day, there's only one Karen Waldrup. So if I stick
That's right.
to the inner Karen Waldrup person, then I'm gonna be more relatable. I'm gonna be more authentic. My music's gonna have more feeling. So yes, I've been accused of like, I can't believe you have horns in the band. That makes y'all sound old. I'm like, I don't care. I don't care because when we're out playing gigs, the girls are on the dance floor getting down to those horns, and they don't care. They love it. So I just think to not listen to that noise. I have a song called Honky Tonk Noise, and it's like about all the stupid stuff that people put in your head. You would not believe the stupid stuff that people say. And you're like, what? It's like, I don't even know where that came from. But anyway, so I just try to get rid of the noise and just focus on rehearsal and music and writing and getting great songs. And now we're about to track a new record. So we've been in a wild adventure of that.
I was going to ask you about that if there was something new because I know this single is a standalone right now. And
Yep.
sometimes in the world of music, we do standalone singles for a long time and they just, a couple at a time. And sometimes we have them waiting for a new album. So you think this one will be like one of the tracks on that album later on, the one we're talking about today?
We're considering putting Blue Cowboy Boots on the record. We're just not sure because when it comes to that, you also have to remaster everything to make
Right.
it sound the same. But yes, I think that would totally be totally normal in the world of the current day streaming. I think a
Yeah.
lot of people are dropping singles and
Hmm.
then collectively making them a record later, which is fine. It's a little unfortunate for the listener to not have the collection of music on the front end. But for the creator, it is kind of nice to be able to like drop like Blue Cowboy Boots, drop Fix It, drop Louisiana Hurricane, and then drop an 8-song record and then add those to it. So I don't know exactly how that's going to go down. I think it really basically matters with mastering. Like that's kind
Yeah.
of a dorky musical conversation. I get into those sometimes, but for the listener, it's like the levels of the sound and the volume levels and stuff. So that's dorky, I know, but that would probably be the decision is does it match the tones?
It's so true, though. It's so true. The average person might not actually, think about that for a moment, but it makes so much sense that if it was recorded even in a certain machine in a certain style, and the buttons are just a little bit different, and you've somehow found that groove of a certain setting on the board, and that song was recorded 6 months before with a less enticing, very good, but
Yeah,
then you just found exactly that sweet spot in the recording board. That makes so much sense.
absolutely. So that's been a common question is Blue Cowboy Boots going to be on this new record? And I'm like, I just don't know. I don't know. Blue Cowboy Boots is a song that I wrote about feeling good, about escaping your problems by putting on a pair of blue cowboy boots. And it's a metaphor, it's to represent life. Yes, I have blue cowboy boots. Yes, I wear them all the time. I wore them in the studio yesterday. I love wearing blue cowboy boots. Blue cowboy boots, when I put them on, they make me feel better because if you're blue, but you put on blue cowboy boots, then you ain't blue anymore because you're wearing blue cowboy boots. And everywhere I go, people are like, those are so cool. I love those blue cowboy
Yeah.
boots. You just don't see them very often, And I think people are wearing green ones a lot too right now. But the blue cowboy boots are really cool because it's like blue, you ain't blue anymore. And so it's kind of the double entendre of that.
I was going to mention that, because it's such a cool. I just love that part about the song. And I had to keep listening to it over because I just love that the chorus and how that because you're wearing blue and you are feeling blue. I love that double entendre. It's so fun, and then you're happy because you're wearing your happy boots.
That's
You
it.
know,
That's it.
love it.
Oh,
I
and
just
trust
love.
me, I've had days where I felt really like overwhelmed or stressed or sad or whatever I was dealing with, and I put those boots on and head to Target, and I'm feeling all right. So it works.
It's a different level of just comfortability and confidence. I've got those boots on, and I can conquer the world today. I'm not worried about anything anymore.
Confidence. That's a good word for it. Yes.
No, I love the song, and it's so catchy, and the video, people have to watch the video to see those blue cowboy boots. The video is wonderful.
Yes, thank you so much. I'm really proud of that video. It was produced by my friend Todd Schmidt. He's amazing. And he produced that video, and we filmed it on a Mardi Gras parade, a real deal Mardi Gras parade. And I was the grand marshal of the Mardi Gras parade. So it's really neat when you watch it. You can literally see the parade behind me. That was an epic, there's sometimes where God just kind of sprinkles
Sure.
little gift in your life, and to have him on the float with me while I was throwing beads was just, it was one of the greatest moments of my life. It really was. My sister asked me at the pool the other day, what was your greatest moment in 2025? We were having this little sister talk.
Yeah.
My sister said her and her kids in Germany in the snow in January, like grand moment, right? My other sister was talking about how they got the boat. They get this, they're doing the boat summer with the kids and stuff. And when it got to my turn, I said, being on a Mardi Gras parade as the grand marshal and throwing blue beads. And we even had white cowgirl hats, and I was wearing a white hat. So you cannot imagine the joy in a child's eyes when they catch a white cowgirl hat signed by me when I'm
That's
wearing
so
a
cool.
white cowgirl hat. It was
Oh,
and I'm from Louisiana. I was born and raised in Louisiana. And I never really truly understood the magic of Mardi Gras until 2025.
wow.
Because I was always the one catching. So I was always like, I caught it, but I realized, and here I go getting deep here, but I realized there are some children that I have thrown the beads and whatever I have to, and those children say, thank you. And I remember, I don't know that I ever said thank you. I think I just caught the beads and was like, yeah, I got it. But it was neat to see the kids that said, thank you. It was like,
Mhm.
did I miss that? Was I not appreciative enough as a child? Did I say thank you? Because when you're throwing it, like you bought it, you went to the
Right.
store and bought it. So for someone to say thank you, it's just really cool. And then one of the here I dive into my Mardi Gras magic. It's such a great experience, but one of the greatest experiences in my whole life, and I'll probably never see this child ever again, and maybe he sees an interview someday. But this young kid was out there, and he didn't have any beads, and I threw him my whole arm. I mean, I just wrapped it around his head. I mean, I just covered this kid with beads. And I see him, and he runs back over to his mom, and he shows her the beads, and then he gets out of his bag a silver cowgirl hat and throws it back at me.
Oh my goodness.
And I was waterworks. I was crying. It was
Yeah.
because it really wasn't about the hat. Mardi Gras stuff it's all, let's face it, it's all junk, really.
But it
Right?
was the signification of that, what he did. That was his thank you. He wanted to share something. That's amazing. That is so,
I'm sure he saw me tear up. And his
yeah.
mom, she was just filled with joy, and he was filled with joy all over some plastic Mardi Gras beads. I mean, it just has this magic about it that has nothing to do with the beads. It has to do with the joy. Anyway, you'll have to go watch the video, because the video is capturing the sheer joy of the crowd and of me, and that is Mardi Gras. That's what Mardi Gras is all about. So I get to go do it again in
Oh, great.
2025. I'm the head of the crew of Mad Hatter Mardi Gras Parade.
Oh,
And
how fun.
I'm going to be Alice in Wonderland, but this time Alice is in a white cowgirl hat, of course.
Ah, of course.
So yeah, so I'll be wearing the Alice in Wonderland outfit, but I'll just add the white hat, and I'll be singing and throwing, and so that'll be really cool.
Going back to what you were saying about the young boy, you never really know how much you affect somebody in a positive way like that. That child could be someone that's bullied at school, that doesn't have a lot of friends, and you made his day, and he'll never forget that. He may grow up thinking he may have a whole newfound confidence because someone paid attention to him and he was the star for a moment.
Yeah.
You never know.
It was definitely a magical moment. I know that if you were talking to that kid, he would probably say, oh yeah, that girl with the white hat, that was such a cool Mardi Gras moment. Whether or not he remembers my name, who knows, but that was special.
That's so neat. as a teacher too, I do some music teaching. I teach music lessons and whatnot, and
Oh, yeah.
I teach the skills and the mechanics of it. But I'm more excited when I can see someone come out of their shell.
Yeah.
That's when I'm more excited to see them become, to be in one of our shows or something in, Park District World and whatnot, and just be in a show as like the third tree from the left, and then 4 years later they're the lead of our show, and I love that to see that. So it's really something to see kids shine or people shine that, we can turn them around with one sentence.
Yep.
So,
Absolutely. And that's a beautiful thing about getting to make music is the impact it makes on the young people.
right, right. Since you mentioned Mandeville, before we talk about Mandeville and everything and traveling through this, and it just has to mean so much going back to your hometown. I know there's a festival at the lakes. Did you grow up like going to the festival at the lakes and seeing other people perform there? And now you're there in October.
Yes, yes. I love going down to South Louisiana. Of course, we've been touring like crazy for the last year, coming off The Voice. I was on season 25 of The Voice last summer, which was 2024 summer. And coming off The Voice, we just toured and we toured and we toured. And it was like I was a tour machine. It was just
Uh-huh.
so many gigs and it was so fun and it was such a great chapter. But I think at the end of the day, that creative time comes around and God kind of goes, okay, let's get back in the studio. And so now
Right.
I'm entering this chapter, which is really exciting. I love touring. I absolutely love touring. Trust me, I love touring. But it's also exciting to get to go and just be in my little baseball hat in the studio, focusing in on a
Right.
cool vocal or a neat, interesting run, or what key are we going to do? Or so now I'm in this creative space that's just exhilarating. So yeah, I'm hooked on this music thing. Ain't no doubt about it.
Well, we're
It's
glad
too
you're hooked
late
because we
now.
love the music that's coming out.
It's too late now, Kevin. It's just too late.
Since you mentioned The Voice, I just want to talk briefly about it. I just want to ask if there was any favorite standout moment during the process of auditioning or performing on The Voice that just stands out in your mind as being, wow, I'm here.
The very first moment when you first asked, that's the first time anyone's ever asked me that question. I think it was actually off stage. And there was this very special moment where I'm sitting with the music producer and we're talking about what songs I'm going to do. And we're sitting there in the chair. And I think I've got my slippers on and my robe because they put a robe over you. So that way, if you don't spill something on you or whatever. So I'm
Right.
on stage, I got my little robe on, my slippers, and I'm talking to the music director and we're talking about whatever. And I look up and here's Reba. She's like, well, hi, Karen. And I'm like, hey, Reba. And she's like, you're just doing a great job. Thank you for that pick you gave me. I gave her a pick. My guitar
Oh, uh-huh.
signed it and gave it to her. She wasn't my coach, so I was, obsessed with her. But anyway, so she's like, just joyful and happy. And she's like, see you later, Clyde. Goes walking away. And I just kind of froze. And I looked at him and said, I need a second. And he's like, I know. And I'm like, yeah, that was like, did that just happen to me? Like Reba just walked up to me and thanked me for the pick I gave her. Like, what? So there's just so
Right.
many moments like that were just kind of like pinch me moments, to get to meet her to begin with, but much less her know my name and much less her know remember that I gave her a pick. Like, just really cool. I mean, just really, really cool. And the whole thing on the show was that she kept trying to steal me from Dan and Shay.
Right.
So we had this fun, um, you want what you can't have thing going on.
Sure.
Like I wanted her, she wanted me. It was really fun.
But they had said that was the first time that there were two country artists on the judges panel. They did have two country artists there. So that was made it kind of interesting. And then at the very beginning of that tug of war between them and you, it was fun to watch. I just reviewed the video recently, and Reba, was blocked by them by Dan and Shay.
Yeah.
And that was fun to see because I mean, and then I thought that John Legend really put it into perspective by saying to you, do you realize that they only had one block and they used it on you against Reba McEntire? So I mean, that had to be a pinch me moment too.
It was, yeah. The block moment was definitely not expected. I was shooting for 4 chairs, so when I got 2 chairs, but a block, I was like, I'll take that. Like, I will totally take that because a block is definitely the ultimate compliment. So Dan and Shay were, good Lord, they were so good to me, man. They treated me so good, like a little sister, man. They taught me so much, and they were they were not, they were tough love with me. You know, they would say things to me off camera like, hey, you know, you really shouldn't move your arms around that much. Or, I mean, they would say things that
Sure.
were like tough love. You know, they weren't just powdering me up the whole time. And I appreciated that. And they knew I had the experience to take it and to not, I have enough tough skin. Like, I'm not going to go backstage and cry that Dan and Shay
Right.
gave critique. Like, are you kidding me? That's why I'm here.
Right.
Like, I want to get better. I wanted to get better. And I got so much better. I mean, The Voice taught me, I always say that I learned honky tonk school on downtown Broadway, singing at honky tonks. Honky tonk master's education was The Voice. So now I need to go for my doctorate.
Yeah. And who knows what that could be, right?
Yes,
What could the doctor be in country music? Wow.
yes, I need to go sing at the Grammys and get my doctorate. Or
Yeah.
the Opry. I haven't done the Opry yet, so I really would like to do the Grand Ole Opry. Maybe that'll be my doctorate.
How about Bluebird Cafe? I have my Bluebird Cafe shirt on here today.
Oh, I love that.
Have you ever sung down at the Bluebird or plans to try to sneak in there and do some 5 times?
Times, yes.
That's awesome, Karen.
Yeah.
Oh, neat.
Yes. And every single time I remember what I wore. I remember what I sang. I
Oh,
remember
man.
who was
Yeah.
around with me. I remember every single magical experience of the Bluebird. The Bluebird, if you haven't been there, you have to get your tickets in advance because they launch the tickets and they're gone in like 5 seconds because there's only, I don't know, 100 seats maybe.
It's a small place in a shopping center.
Yeah.
I've passed by many times, you know, when we've gone on vacation down there. I've passed by, but the first couple times I thought, that can't be it. That can't be it. I saw the awning and everything next to like a hairdresser or this. And I'm like, that can't be it. You know?
I feel bad for the people next door because they got a line outside their door all the time. I'm like, you picked the wrong place to lease. But anyway, or maybe the right.
Yeah,
if, they're
who
selling,
knows?
if they're selling cookies, it'd be the right place to lease, right?
Right.
Cupcakes. But anyway, but yeah, the Bluebird Cafe is just good. I love that shirt. That's
Yeah.
great.
I don't get down there often enough, so I had to order from their online store. But when I get down there sometime to actually go there, then I'm going to be going to that gift shop and just buying up stuff. And have you seen the movie Bluebird that they made?
No, I haven't.
They made a movie called Bluebird about the cafe. It's a documentary. And they just show they show like Garth Brooks sitting there next to one of his songwriters for, I forget which song, but his songwriter's sitting there singing it himself. And Garth is just strumming along. It just, that brought me to to Guy Waterworks. I think someone was supposed to be peeling onions in the room somewhere. Maybe when I was
probably.
watching that, I'm sure they were just peeling onions.
Totally.
But you know, it was just really brought me to that moment where it's like, oh my gosh, you know, because I'm amateurish songwriter, you know, in my head, and I write stuff and I sing, but I don't perform. And it's like, wow, to see this guy, older gentleman who had written this song and playing it with Garth in the room. It was a big song. I can't think of what song it was, but the documentary is really, really good.
Okay, I'll have to watch that. And I like the way you got that shirt where you got the blue for the blue cowboy boots and the Bluebird Cafe. I mean, you brought it with the blue cowboy boots.
I'd like to say I planned that. Yeah, of course I did this morning. First thing I did.
First thing you did is you went through your closet and looked for the blue.
But the Bluebird was intentional. But I don't know about the shirt. We'll go with that, though. We'll go with that.
You did it for the blue cowboy boots.
There you go.
I know you got your blue cowboy boots on. Don't lie.
They're on order.
Order. Okay, yeah, that works.
They're on back order, actually, because you've made them so popular that people can't get them anymore.
That's it.
That's what
it.
we hope. That's the hope.
That's it.
Real quick story I want to share with you related to your career in a sense, because I know that your opening, the blind audition was a Jody Messina song, correct?
Yeah.
And then also you sing I'm All Right. I saw another where you sing I'm All Right, the whole set up for you like that. And we were down there on one of our vacations in Nashville. And when the Wild Horse Saloon was still in the way it was, you know, I didn't know anything about it, to be honest with you. We just walked in there and we were just want to get a sandwich. My wife and I, we wanted to get a sandwich. And they said, well, you could, you know, we saw that they were rehearsing on stage. They said, you could stay here, get lunch. They were rehearsing a show for that evening called Ladies Night Out with not only Jody Messina, but Tanya Tucker, Loretta Lynn's 2 daughters, the Lynns, and Terry Clark. And we were just sitting there. We watched the whole rehearsal. Then we bought tickets for that night. We didn't know. We were just tourists. I go for country music down there. And we're watching them. So then afterwards, I met Jody and Ellie, and I met the Lynns. And I mean.
So you literally camped out all day.
We stayed with them. Yeah, we didn't plan to. We were just down there making the plans, and we walked in for lunch. We'd stay for the whole day. We watched the rehearsal. We're the only people in there watching a rehearsal. We're at the back of the room, but we're watching this rehearsal.
That's what I always tell people. They're like, where should I go in Nashville? I'm like, honestly, I would just get lost in the city because
Right.
magic happens. Like, if you just don't have a plan and you just walk around and kind of like you and your wife,
Yeah.
that's where magic happens. So that's exactly why I tell people, like, don't go where I tell you to go. Go where God calls you to go.
Right.
Like, I'm
Right.
not the music God. Go where the Jesus Christ up in heaven wants you to
Right.
go, because there's so much great music and there's so much great magic that happens in Nashville. So that's funny that you had that experience, because I always say that to people, like, go get lost in the city. Like, don't look at your app.
Yeah.
Just
There's
here at
so
one
much to
place.
see and do and listen to.
I know. Go drink
And
a
that's
beer at
all we
one
did.
place. Go get a hot dog at the next place. Then go get an ice cream. Then go listen to some music. Then repeat.
Yeah.
It's so fun. It's so fun. And I work so much. One of my friends in Memphis was just saying the other day, he's like, some of my favorite days are the days that we go down to Broadway and I just kind of walk around and see who I know. And I'm like, can you please bring me next time? Because I have not done that in years.
Well, and
So,
it's such a small, it's a big but small community because you're just walking down the street and you run into a songwriter or a producer or this or that. Everyone that's down there is kind of down there for a reason. And I hear it's like one little family because you network without even trying. You just happen to be with your friend, and your friend knows that person that just walked into the coffee shop.
yep. And Nashville is just, it really is. You know, I know it gets a bad rap sometimes, but for me personally, I have felt a lot of support from Nashville. But I'm good to Nashville, and Nashville's good to me. I don't talk smack about Nashville.
Right.
I don't complain about Nashville. I don't say
Right.
I didn't get this or I didn't get that. I praise Nashville all the time, everywhere I go. I love Nashville. I don't disrespect Nashville, and she doesn't disrespect me. So we got a good relationship.
I've been in Chicago my whole life, but if I didn't have so much family here, that's where
Yeah.
I would be. As a songwriter kind of person too, that's where I would have been for years. I thought about driving down there, the 8-hour drive, trying to pitch a song, but you can't just go down there and pitch a song. You got to be living there. You got to be, or traveling for a couple of days at a time. You can't walk into some office somewhere. So I woke up and realized, well, what am I going to do? So, but if I could live there,
Song, you got somebody to pitch it right here. You got a great song. Hit me up.
I'll start working on some country too.
Songs.
I love to write. I just really enjoy it. It's just more of a passion than anything else. I thought I was going to do that, and I've been in the music industry my whole life, so it's okay. But I really thought I might be on the creative side of it. I guess that's where my theater stuff comes in and whatever. But so I want to mention your couple records real fast. I mean, you've done 7, I believe, right? You've done 7, but there's 2 standouts in the recent years that were big productions. One being Justified in 2018, I think.
Yeah, Justified. Thank you for reminding me. Yeah, that was, gosh, feels like yesterday.
Yeah, the time goes by fast, huh? Think about that, 7 years ago.
Wow.
And then Kendall County Road. I just wanted to ask you a question about each one or mention something. First of all,
I didn't realize Justified was that old already. My goodness.
well, we don't. Age is just a number. We don't really count those numbers. We just count the number of fans and number of people's lives we can touch, right, in a positive way.
I will say this: Justified was such a special record for me that I probably will do like a 10-year something, like a 10-year vinyl or something on that record, because it really was special. So I'm glad you mentioned that. Gives me 3 years to get that vinyl moving. I think a vinyl for Christmas and the 10-year anniversary would be a cool thing.
Well, you did something really neat with that I really loved, and I wanted to share it with you too. You had done that behind the music on iTunes. You remember doing that a while ago there?
Yes.
And I thought that was just genius. I listened to it several times because I kind of wanted to, I was doing something else. I'm listening to it and I'm hearing a part. I listened to the whole album first, but then I went back and listened to this behind the music, and it made me want to listen to the songs over and over because I knew what they meant coming from the songwriter, not third person, not for, you were telling what the song meant. And I loved it. I thought that was genius.
I appreciate you for bringing that back up, because I need to do that on my upcoming record. I need to do the behind the music.
It's great, And
I don't know what the name of the record is, but I might be calling it Keeping the Faith.
Nice.
So if I do call it Keeping the Faith, I could do it behind the music for Keeping the Faith. But it's hard to name a record until you got all the songs. And I only have 5 right now of the 8 that we're going to cut. And we already have planned and studio players booked and everything. So anyway, I'm getting a little ahead of myself naming the record, but
that's okay. But it's
Keeping
always,
the Faith would be cool.
it's always churning, right? It's always churning up there to think.
It's always, but good Lord, is it fun, man. To do this for a living is just, it's so fun. People will be like, you know how much money you'd make working in corporate America with the amount of hours you work? I'm like, I know. Don't remind me.
But you know, the joy that you have in doing this compared to being in corporate America, you know, think about that, you know?
I'm like, you're probably right, but can we not talk about that, please?
Oh, but yeah, I think that it was just so, I mean, I know behind the music's happening, there's storytellers and all that, but it doesn't happen often enough. And just to give a little small 30-second snapshot of each song, it made it so,
Totally.
I loved it. And then you showed the human side of you because people start to put people on a pedestal. I know Paul McCartney said, you know, people like to hear people make mistakes. Like Paul McCartney said one time he was singing a song on stage, he forgot the words to something like Let It Be, something magic. And people just cheered and cheered and cheered. And they asked him for many interviews afterwards, did you do that on purpose? He said, why would I forget the words on purpose? But people love to see that human side. And I just thought what was neat about your behind the music was you were talking about one story about a song, and then you did an extra track to say, I didn't say this though. I didn't tell you how I was in England and someone told me they said a line about the clouds and the sun, and how I didn't tell you that we changed it because I was bouncing off somebody else and I called it your son or my son or whatever. I can't remember exactly. You know what I'm talking about though, you know?
Yes. In fact, I'm really glad you brought that up. I need to, on a long road trip, I need to go back and listen to that behind the music.
It's so good. It just made me want to listen to everything.
Yeah, and I remember we were in the studio and we were talking behind the music for What Goes On in This Bar. And we were all taking a break anyway for lunch. And I went to the gas station and got a beer and popped open the beer.
I heard that pop. I did hear that. I was thinking, was that to tie in with the bar? So I heard it. It's so funny you say that. I thought I heard a snap.
That was a last minute idea. Yeah, I was like, I'm
Oh,
gonna
that was so fun.
pop this thing open.
Oh my gosh.
It's fun to just do crazy stuff.
It was so neat to listen to though, and I just think it's so genius because it gives people that inside look. Some people take their songs that are so personal that maybe they don't feel comfortable sharing, or some people say that they want to let other people decide what it means to them. But I love that they can still do that. That you want to share that. I think it's so neat, and it helped me to really embrace every song on the record.
Well, thank you very much. Yes, I really appreciate that. I appreciate you listening to it. That was a lot of fun to do. I look forward to doing another one of those because I really enjoyed doing that, and I think people have enjoyed that as well.
Right. I know they have.
Yes.
One person right here.
Yes.
I know where you've got a full day ahead of you, so I just have like one or two more questions, and I want to let you get ready for the rest of your busy day. And I appreciate your time so much.
Thank you.
With Kendall County Road, I know you did a duet with or a collaboration with Wendy Moten. How did that come about? I love Wendy Moten. I love her voice and her. How did that come about?
She is such an amazing person. She actually guided me when I was on The Voice. So I needed a background singer. Paul Worley was producing her at the same time he was producing me.
Okay.
Like, why don't we just bring her in to sing the background vocals? She's amazing. You're going to love her. And I'm like, okay, let's do it. And so we brought her in and she just slayed. And she sang some oohs that I was having pitch issues with. And she sang a bunch of BGVs on the rest of the record. But when she sang Nothing Is Impossible, we were like, hey, can we credit you on this? Because you're really singing a lot of the song. You know? I put you as a background singer when you're really a collab, you know? And so she said, well, sure. And so then I had her number. And then when I went out to The Voice, she was on The Voice. So I called her up and she kind of guided me through some of the understandings of the reality of the show and kind of helped me understand what I was getting myself into.
Right.
So I call Wendy Moten a mentor to me. She's a mentor. And you know, it's funny. She and I are very aligned because now the producer that's producing my record is producing her record.
Wow.
So we following each other.
Yeah.
I'm following her. I don't know if she's following me.
It's just neat then, and that's how things come about like that. You know how things come about, and now you've got this. You're leading parallel lives in a sense with your careers, and
she's incredible. Well, I don't know about parallel. She's much more established than me, but you know, maybe I'll get there at one point in my life.
I know you will.
Yes,
no doubt. I just want to have people know that you're very, very active in social media, and you've got all these different places that you go to. TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Real briefly, I want to say that on TikTok, I just seen a video the other day of you with Chapel Hart singing Go Your Own Way. I thought that was so cool. I hope that goes like crazy viral, and I hopefully Mac hears it. I mean, because it's just so cool.
Thank you. That was super fun. That was backstage at the Opry.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a fun place to be, I'm sure.
Oh my gosh. I've only gotten to do it 3 times. I got to go backstage with William Michael Morgan, years ago. He was my very first person that invited me backstage. Then Chapel Harp invited me backstage, and that's when we filmed that video. And then T. Graham Brown invited me backstage just a couple weeks ago. So I believe in touching the dream. I believe in putting yourself in a mentality where you think and know that you belong somewhere. And so I believe I belong at the Opry. So I go backstage and I observe and I kind of enjoy the experience of how
Oh
other
yeah.
people are doing it, and then hope that it'll be me next.
It's such a neat story to hear that that's where that was filmed and that's where that was made and then other appearances backstage. How cool. Um, so is the best place for them to start looking for your music and everything your website, KarenWaldrup.com,
I
or
think I think listeners can listen to music wherever they love music, but I do think that the best thing for people to do is always start with KarenWaldrup.com, because if you follow me on KarenWaldrup.com, put your email in, then I can make sure that you know when I'm in Chicago, when I'm in Florida. If your family's on vacation in Gulf Shores and we're down there, you might want to come to our Gulf Shores show. So I think it's best for people to just start there, and then my social media links from there, because I have a ton of online impersonators.
really?
So yeah, that's a huge problem for us these days, is people trying to impersonate us online and rip off our fans and
Oh my goodness.
take money from them and stuff. So I always tell people, if you go to KarenWaldrup.com, everything is exactly everything is backed by me. The link to TikTok, that is my TikTok. The online store, you're going to get the t-shirt.
Right.
Like, there's no gotcha at KarenWaldrup.com. Everything is straightforward. The bio, everything is truth. You start wandering around the internet. I
Yeah.
read somewhere that I sung with Garth Brooks. I said, damn, I must have been drunk. I'm like, I did not sing with no Garth Brooks. I wish, but that's what I'm saying, is sometimes on the web, things get confused, or a writer misunderstands,
Right.
somebody produced Garth Brooks who produced me. Like, I did not sing with him. But anyway, so you got to watch the web.
Right. Right.
So.
Well, you heard that. So make sure that you check out, just be careful on the web and find the real Karen Waldrup and all of her great things that she's doing. Be sure to check out the single Blue Cowboy Boots, as well as all of the great music that's out there from Karen. And Karen, again, thank you so much for your time today. It's such a pleasure to talk to you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you for having me. And I can't wait to see you in Chicago very soon this fall.
I'll be there.
See you there.
Thanks,
Bye,
Karen.
y'all.
Bye-bye.